Throughout the 7 years of this broadcast, we focused in on a bunch of truancy, from chronic absenteeism to unexcused absence to birth to excused versus unexcused truancy in court, parents being arrested, to even a state that does not send parents to jail, but helps them out. To even a stricter state where if they don't go to school, the parents can go to jail. Here in Texas, though, it's a growing problem here in Nueces County. And one school district you're about to see is doing a thing with a campaign called Attendance Matters. That's Alice ISD. And let me tell you, they're doing their part by making sure that no one misses a day of school. So how is this working out? Here's Michael Gibson.
Here in Alice, school district officials believe they have finally turned the corner on their attendance problems. That after they began a new initiative this school year, which focused on getting those children back into the classroom who instead were at home skipping school. Attendance Matters is the new Alice ISD initiative to try and bounce back from last year's low attendance numbers.
Alice ISD recorded a daily attendance of 89.41%.
That meant that there were around 479 students absent each and every day. This year, things are much different. The district has a number of strategies to combat truancy, including social media. It seems to have worked, as attendance numbers are now up in the 93% range.
The parent liaisons are making phone calls, attendance clerks, we are as well. And that's where we're going to be working collaboratively with the police department to also go out and round up kids that we're seeing a pattern in their absences.
Sheriff Danny Bueno knows the importance of being in school after serving 25 years as a school board member over in Benvolt.
It's going to take the worst of us, all of our friends, our neighbors, and our relatives. Let's sit down for dinner and let's talk about how we can improve our kids, because that is the future.
Alice Police Chief Eaton Garcia told everyone that his department is also working to do whatever it can to get the kids back in school.
Your child maybe just doesn't want to go to school, but you as a parent, you may not know who to contact. But you know what? We're going to bring the message to you, to your home. And so that's what we plan on doing.
Parents at the high school that we spoke with love the effort to go after those students who are truant, because they're making sure their own children are at school and on time.
Well, yeah, it's very important for them to get here on time. Right now we're running late.
By the way, parents face up to a $500 fine and even criminal charges if they don't get their kids to school, like all of these parents are able to do. Michael Gibson, 3 News.
All right.
And it seems like a great idea for Alice ISD. So let's throw in some common sense. It's like we talked about for 7 years on truancy. I tell people all the time to stay in school. And you all may be asking me in the comment section, why are you focused on so much education? What's your passion about education? I've had one fan ask that question. I'm not naming names. But I told her my specific answer: to put education back on the map and to get kids going to school. What I've learned is that part of growing up is doing what you don't want to do. And learning to grow up is learning how to be on time and getting to school on time. Because by this state, you are required to go to school. And there may be ways to say, well, I go to homeschool and I do online school. That stuff costs money. Public schools are free because of our tax dollars. We pay for free education. We pay for subscriptions, for Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, whatever. We pay for free education. That's because of our tax dollars. And the whole reason why kids are skipping class, this is the whole reason, like we talked about. The main reason why kids, think about this. Your child is sitting at home watching TV. He's not just sitting at home watching TV. They're out there breaking into cars, breaking into houses, doing illegal things, joining gangs, doing drugs, drinking booze, and no one is going to school. And with Alice, they're simply just raising common sense. They're getting police involved, and they're dragging their asses back in class. And let me tell you, if this plan works, maybe then they'll understand. Oh, I have to go to school. If I don't get my diploma. If you don't get your diploma, you're not going to get a good job in the future. Let me tell you again, without a high school diploma, you won't get a good job. And look, I have a high school diploma. I never committed truancy. I never went to truancy court. There's a $500 fine for those who continue to do this. And I'll tell you, it may be fair to some people who say, well, I can't go to school. I mean, if you have a medical reason or an approved excuse from the school district, that's an excused absence. Unexcused absence are things like, I couldn't get out of bed. I had to go babysit. I had to feed the dogs in the morning. Those are unexcused absences. And if you have a lot of unexcused absences, after parent conferences, you can end up in truancy court, like we talked about, with truant conduct. And as we heard from Johnny and Peyton, if it continues on, then your child could be facing juvenile delinquency if it happens. So, again, like I said before, if you got rid of the requirement, not only would the school lose funding, but juvenile delinquency will always go up. Stay in school. That's what's best. Next, our main focus, drunk at school. 3 teachers, 2 from Tulsa and 1 from another state, with a body cam footage from a police officer. You will see that. Stay with us. When I first heard about this issue of teachers being drunk on the job, it really got underneath my skin. And like I said, it's one of the few moments in 7 years that I've done the show where I am nauseous beyond belief. But never in over 600 episodes and 7 years have I ever gotten sick and angry. Think about this. Imagine this scenario. You're in class, and then you see your teacher cracking open a cold one. And then your conscience is saying, maybe you should interfere. No, mind your business. And that's how he says, no, mind your business. But think about this. You interfere and say, you should not be doing that. And go and talk about, what are you going to do about it? You going to tell on me? I ain't going to believe no 6-year-old. And so they ask to go to the bathroom, and they report this to the office, and then it's like, they find the empty substance of alcohol, the alcohol, and they either get 2 things. 1, suspended with pay. 2, jail time for public intoxication. In these 3 cases we're going to talk about tonight, you will see what happens when a Tuloso Mayowa teacher, 2 Tuloso Mayowa teachers in this story, were drunk on the job. Luckily, no kid was ever in harm's way. But this teacher was suspended with pay after the incident happened. So what was going on? Here's Bill Churchwell.
Well, the superintendent is saying the situation was discovered when another educator smelled alcohol on the teacher, and it was addressed almost immediately after that educator in question arrived on campus.
This incident is not a reflection of the 600 plus employees who come to work every day and do great work.
DM Superintendent Steve Van Matry says this is a letter that is difficult to write, but that he, as a school leader, has an obligation to report. He says what isn't clear is the underlying circumstances as to what caused one of the district's employees to come to work allegedly under the influence of alcohol.
I think that there's a bigger issue that's not just a TM issue.
Van Matry says there is a need for emotional support and assistance for adult educators to help deal with any sort of issues they might be experiencing. In fact, in the past 2 weeks, he says the district has rolled out a wellness program for its employees.
Nobody is immune from the pressures that we all face as educators and employees who work closely with children. There's a significant amount of stress involved with that.
I don't know the details of it, but I do know that it is symptomatic of what we're going through with our students and among the teaching profession.
Nancy Vena is the president of the local American Federation of Teachers chapter. She agrees more school districts need to adopt a wellness-type program for its educators.
There's a certain stress and a certain intensity that that teachers seem to have to self-medicate, or we're seeing more and more incidents of teachers having nervous breakdowns and panic attacks.
Vena says she is currently working with CCISD and West Oso ISD to enhance wellness opportunities for teachers.
We, for example, at Zavala Elementary School put together a wellness room with massage chairs so that teachers and faculty and staff and even the whole entire school district could go in and relax.
Both Vena and Van Maitre agree the safety and well-being of students is paramount.
Teaching them how to take care of themselves so that they can take care of the students.
The superintendent says he has reported the incident to the TEA, which is protocol. Bill Churchwell, 3 News.
All right, Bill,
But the story does not end there. Here's the second one.
gods have spoken. And a teacher was found to be under the influence of alcohol today at Tolosa Midway High School, and it comes just 5 days after a substitute teacher there at TM was arrested for being under the influence of alcohol on campus. A letter from Superintendent Steve Van Maitre said the situation was discovered and addressed almost immediately after the teacher in question arrived on campus. A letter from the district reads in part, quote, "Being that the safety and well-being of our students will always be our top priority, the district will continue to monitor the situation closely," end quote. And we have learned tonight that the teacher has been suspended with pay.
Now here's the substitute version of this. There was a substitute teacher who was arrested for being drunk at work. Let's hear what the superintendent has to say, then we're going to take a break.
Breaking news tonight, police arrested a substitute teacher at Tolosa Midway High School, accusing them of being drunk at work. Superintendent Steve Van Maitre joins us live now on 3 News at 6 o'clock. Mr. Van Maitre, what can you tell us about this arrest?
Well, Rudy, thank you for allowing me the opportunity. As embarrassing as this may have been, on reflection, our safety and security protocols worked. You know, keeping kids safe is not just keeping them safe from an active shooter. It's a variety of variables, and when we have outsiders into our building, we're watching them. And we had a substitute today that apparently went home for lunch and came back under the influence. He was never alone with children, and we were able to detect it. PD was there in seconds. He was detained, ultimately arrested, and left the perimeter. No child was ever at risk, and I'm very, very pleased with the protocols in place at Tolosa Midway High School because they worked today.
And that's key right there. So how was it that your staff was able to detect that this person, this sub, was under the influence?
We were testing today. We were doing interim STAR testing. He was in the gym, and he was in the corner, and you know that's odd behavior for an adult in the gym. So when he walked outside, his gait was somewhat erratic, and we were notified immediately.
Now, we know that after a substitute teacher's arrest last month at Cal Allen ISD, we did a story looking at the minimum requirements needed for someone to become a sub. Do you think that those minimum requirements are adequate?
Well, I'm comfortable, Rudy, with our background checks and minimum requirements. Where I think we need to look at is more training. Currently, we offer multiple trainings, but the substitutes that we allow in our classrooms only currently have to attend those once. I think we need to look at making those requirements a little more difficult so that we can have a closer look at these subs, because quite frankly, in 2023, we can't have school without subs. We need them in our classrooms. Our teachers go to training. Unfortunately, many of our teachers are sick and have to be replaced in the classroom. Our workforce is predominantly women, and when in our culture, when there's a sick child, predominantly, not always, but predominantly, the mom steps up. So we have to have an adequate workforce of subs. But again, in reflection, we can do a better job of training.
Words from Superintendent, Delosa Midway Superintendent Steve Van Matry. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Rudy.
Yeah, it was tough to talk about, but like a lot of people do, you need to make sure that doesn't happen again. If it happens, you need to do your best to talk to somebody. And the staff was notified about this, and let me tell you, I'm glad it happened. And if it didn't happen, we wouldn't be talking about it. But the issue is not over yet because of what's going on. When we come back, a teacher was drunk, but you'll see body cam footage that may leave you disturbed after you hear about what happened when a teacher was drunk and wasted a bunch of time with officers and the superintendent. Stay with us. If you thought drunk teachers was happening in Texas, you better think again. Take a look at what happened 3 years ago when an elementary teacher was arrested for showing up to school highly intoxicated.
A Pinellas County teacher arrested at school. The fourth grade teacher accused of showing up to work drunk. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jameson Euler.
And I'm Wendy Ryan. Thanks for joining us. ABC Action News reporter Isabel Rosales broke this story. She spoke with an officer who saw the whole thing.
This Pinellas County teacher is not only fired, she's now facing criminal charges after just 7 days on the job.
When you make that decision in the line of work that you are in, yeah, that's an automatic, fired, may not hire.
ABC Action News was the first to report on Lisa Edelstein's arrest. Mom of 7, Brandy Parker, found out this morning after the district called. Her daughter is a second grader at Skyview Elementary in Pinellas Park.
Some people don't have backgrounds and they take a wrong turn in life and it catches up to them. So do I blame the school? Absolutely not.
According to arrest records, Edelstein was loud and belligerent in front of the children.
Bloodshot, watery eyes, slurring of the words. There was some rocking back and forth. Stumbling.
Sergeant Roxanne Pohl of Pinellas Park PD was called in to help campus police.
I did ask her to lower her voice. I attempted to explain that there were students in the school that we wish they not be interrupted.
She says at one point, Edelstein tried to get in her car and leave.
I was shocked, disappointed. Trust here is someone who we expect to come to school ready to teach. And unfortunately, that's not what happened this morning.
We found out Edelstein has faced disciplinary action before, part of her 30 years as an assistant teacher in Hillsborough County. We're working to find out more details. Today, Edelstein faces a disorderly conduct charge and possibly more.
What was found in her car? Marijuana.
In Pinellas Park, Isabel Rosales, ABC Action News.
And it also happened 9 years ago. There it is.
Hey.
But let me tell you, in the 6 years that I've done this, 7 years I've done this show, let me tell you, I've never been much angry than I have ever been. Just take a look.
A Hernando County teacher accused of being drunk on the job. She says she wasn't drinking, but a report from the school district claims she was well above the legal limit. Our Andrew Dowd is live for us now. And Andrew, this teacher told you that she shouldn't be fired.
And the school district isn't commenting on this case, but these reports pretty much say it all. And what this teacher's accused of doing is certainly not something that most parents would want their children exposed to at school.
I don't have a lot of faith in the fact that I'm going to be treated fairly.
Erin Callgill is fighting to keep her job as a teacher at West Hernando Middle School. According to this transcript from a hearing on December 20th, Callgill seemed unsteady on her feet, had dilated pupils, and was slurring her words. She was taken for a test that showed she was well above the legal limit of .08. The numbers don't lie.
But they do lie if you're diabetic.
Caugill says because of specific medical conditions, her body does not process alcohol as quickly as it should. And while she denies drinking at work, she did acknowledge she had been drinking with some friends the night before.
I had 6 ounces of French wine and 2 shots of scotch.
She says she stopped drinking before midnight. According to a report from the assistant principal on that day, Caugill was also seen taking a plastic cup from her classroom and locking herself in a restroom. The assistant principal reported the restroom smelled like alcohol, though a school resource officer could not verify that. Caugill says it was just iced tea. Why lock yourself in the bathroom, according to what this
I did not lock myself in the bathroom. I shut the door because they were breathing down my neck, and I felt pretty intimidated.
Caugill said she regrets not calling out.
I know now that I should have called and said, look, I'm not going to come in. It would have been much less traumatic.
Now, this all happened the second week in December. Now, the school board meets next Tuesday, and that's when Caugill will find out if she gets to keep her job or if she will be fired. For now, we're live in Hernando County. Andrew Dowd, ABC Action.
But here's a second clip to this issue. And like I said before, the 7 years doing this broadcast, we never dealt with issues about teachers being drunk on the job. As you know, here in the state of Texas, there is a state law that prohibits alcohol in the state of Texas. No teacher, no staff, no student should have any alcohol in school on the school premises, period. Period. Take a look.
First grade teacher was in seclusion on this first day of school after her arrest on campus Friday for public intoxication. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. Here's Megan Updegraff's staff photo for the Arlington Independent School District. She's been working at West Elementary School.
And here's her mugshot now on the right side of your screen. She has virtually the same facial expression and smile in both of the photos. First tonight on Fox 4 News at 9, Calvert Collins at West Elementary with the details. Calvert.
Well, Stephen, Heather, Megan Updegraff has been an Arlington ISD employee for the past 2 years. She had planned to start her third year as a first grade teacher here at West Elementary. That was until a colleague called police on her last week.
No one should go to work, under those kind of, conditions.
Parents picking up their kids on the first day of school didn't know one teacher was missing from the carpool line.
I think that drinking sometimes leads to bad things.
Last Friday was a teacher work day. 28-year-old Megan Updegraff came to school to prepare her first grade classroom for the first day. West Elementary is an Arlington ISD school located in Grand Prairie city limits. According to Grand Prairie police, a colleague suspected Updegraff might be drunk and called it in. She agreed to a breathalyzer and multiple sobriety tests and was arrested on campus for public intoxication, a Class C misdemeanor.
I think if they want to drink, they should keep that at home and not bring it to school.
Police would not release where Updegraff had been prior to arriving at school or her blood alcohol level. 2 neighbors I spoke to said this behavior is very uncharacteristic. Both described her as smart, sweet, and upstanding.
And I just don't want to condemn the said teacher behind it, but it's not good.
Arlington ISD would not comment on Updegraff's arrest, only confirming she's on paid administrative leave pending district and police investigations. While there were no students in her care at the time of the arrest, West Elementary School parents believe teachers should hold themselves to a certain standard of professionalism.
We look at them as role models and teach our kids to look at them as role models and, to listen and do what you're told in class. And, that's just kind of, it's sad. It's kind of sad.
Now, I did speak to Megan Updegraff briefly, asking her if she did want to tell her side of the story. She did not. Heather?
All right, so Calvert, given that she's a teacher and was arrested at school, how could that affect then her in court?
Well, most likely, if at all, it would only really affect a plea deal offered by the prosecutor. Now, public intoxication is an easy arrest, basically, to prove, because police only have to prove that the suspect appeared to be drunk or a danger to themselves or others. But this is, again, a Class C misdemeanor. We're talking something that is basically equivalent to a traffic ticket, where the penalty is only a $500 fine, no jail time.
Gotcha. All right, Calvin Collins live for us tonight. Thank you.
All right. Here's another one that we're going to take a break.
People don't know how to spot a good deal. That's what.
And like I talked about, you shouldn't be drinking on school grounds. No alcohol. Alcohol is prohibited on school grounds. Like I said, state law prohibited alcohol. State law. That's the key point here. State law. State law may not cover the Constitution, but states have their own Constitution and they make their own laws. So let's take what happened in New Mexico.
Only on 7, a Belen High School teacher fired for allegedly drinking on the job.
Administrators tell us Kathleen Jardine could have been drunk in her classroom for hours before students turned her in. As Action 70's put Alana Gold explains, parents are outraged.
Belen High School is now without a freshman algebra teacher. The district just fired 54-year-old Kathleen Jardine for being drunk in her classroom on Monday.
If the teachers are here drinking, who's watching our kids? Who is watching our kids, and what are they teaching our kids? It's ludicrous.
Parents can't believe teens at Belen High School were put in this position.
Not a very good one. Not a very good one at all. It's crazy.
Administrators tell us students first reported Jardine's behavior was strange around 11 o'clock in the morning. She was given a breathalyzer test hours later, and results show she was nearly 3 times the legal limits.
It's very concerning. We worry about our kids and we want to make sure that they're in a good, safe environment.
District officials say there was a lag in time for that alcohol testing because they had to take Jardine to a lab off campus to do it. They also tell us she's been employed with the district for the last year and a half and never had any problems until this week.
It's an eye-opener for me, because things don't happen like that in Belen.
Administrators want to assure students and parents this was an isolated incident, and staff at Belen High School have been told this behavior will not be tolerated. Reporting in Valencia County, Alana Gold, KOAT Action 7 News.
The district is giving the case to the Public Education Department. Officials there will decide if they'll revoke Jardine's teaching license. Police could also press charges against her for public intoxication.
Public intoxication is illegal, and it does happen there. On a Throwback Thursday, 4 or 5 weeks, or probably on our next show, we'll look at our next show on Saturday. We'll look at some more teachers who have been drunk, because this has gotten way out of hand, way out of hand, even more so. Coming up next, this teacher was drunk on the job, but she wasted the police's time and the superintendent's time. You will hear from that police body cam, and you'll hear her side of the story. And prior to being drunk, she posed for a photo. We'll have more about that when we come back. Stay with us. 3 weeks ago, an employee of the school was caught drunk on the job. The portion of the body cam footage you're about to see, it's just outrageous to watch. I watched that, and let me tell you, it is disturbing to see when a teacher wastes time. It was all caught on tape. The body cam footage. We'll show you the body cam footage in just a minute. But would you want to have this teacher teach at your school? I wouldn't. I would not allow any teacher being drunk on the job. We got to be drug testing teachers. We have to be alcohol testing. Things have got to change. Take a look.
This has got to go down as one of the worst first days of school ever.
You're under arrest.
Please don't do this.
It's too late.
No, please. I can't do this, please.
Third grade teacher Kimberly Coates was arrested after cops were notified of a teacher acting weird and maybe intoxicated. The 53-year-old was called into a meeting with a police officer, the school district superintendent, and the principal.
Did you drink something while you were here at school?
Not while I was at school.
When did you drink something?
Last night.
The teacher agreed to a breathalyzer test.
Are you gonna blow double zeros?
I don't know.
You should know. If you hadn't drank anything, you should blow zeros. Makes me think that you are not going to.
Now the test.
Take a deep breath. Blow, 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 blow. Alright, so, good job. You gonna tell me the truth? How much you had to drink?
I drank last night.
You had anything to drink today?
Not since, well, so 3 a.m.
We think that you drank today. Not 3 a.m. We think that you've drank since you've been at school.
Okay, I drank on the way to work.
Then the superintendent goes to the teacher's classroom and returns with a plastic cup.
Okay, no more games, right? Other than that.
My juice?
Let me try again. That there is wine.
That's when Kimberly Coates was placed under arrest by police in Perkins, Oklahoma.
Put your hands behind your back.
The charge, public intoxication. Not the way you want to start the school year.
You're under arrest.
Please don't do this.
But prior to this, this was the photo right before this arrest.
Watch. We're learning more about the teacher accused of drinking on the first day of school.
You're under arrest.
Please don't do this.
It's too late.
No, please, please, please. I can't do this, please.
Third grade teacher Kimberly Coates kept changing her story.
When did you drink something?
Last night.
Before admitting.
Okay, I drank on the way to work.
Then school administrators found a cup of wine in her classroom.
That there is wine.
Look at this. Earlier in the day, the 53-year-old teacher posed with fellow teachers for this class photo. She's all smiles. No sign of what was to come. The teacher really did not want her husband notified.
Now let's call somebody to come pick you up.
No, I can't call my husband.
Turns out teaching made the list of the top 10 professions with the highest rates of alcohol abuse, along with lawyers and healthcare professionals.
I just feel a ton of empathy.
Jessica Duenas was Kentucky Teacher of the Year in 2019, but says she struggled with living a double life as an alcoholic. In 2020, she resigned.
She's absolutely not alone. I even have gotten the State Teacher of the Year award while drinking a fifth of liquor a day. You know, I remember how incredibly difficult it was to know that you're struggling with something that has such a heavy stigma tied to it, and then show up professionally as a role model. Teaching is incredibly challenging with very little support.
Put your hands behind your back.
Please don't do this.
I don't think I'm ready to show you the thing yet. But weeks after...
The news just into our way...
This is from 2 weeks ago. This is from WAAY TV 31. This was a short one. Just take a look at this.
It's just into our Way 31 newsroom this evening. A Fort Payne school teacher is in jail tonight after police arrested her for being drunk in the classroom. Melissa Harris is now charged with public intoxication, possession of alcohol on school grounds, and possession of a controlled substance. Harris was found to have prescription medication she did not have a prescription for. Fort Payne City Schools and Fort Payne Police are investigating this incident.
And we're going to investigate this incident with a common sense alert. Like I said before, state law prohibits alcohol on school grounds. The state of Connecticut prohibits tobacco products. And here in the state of Texas, weeks ago, they now prohibit vaping. It's against state law. And this person right here who was drunk on the job and taking drugs, I would not allow her to teach in my school. If that happened, you know what I would have done? I would have had a parent ask her questions. If you're going to have a new teacher, you need to do your homework. That's the bottom line here. If you're going to have a new teacher, new substitute teacher, whatever, you need to do your homework. You need to ask the superintendent. You need to talk to the principal and say, does she have a criminal record? Because I don't want my child going in front of a criminal. You need to do background checks. Schools need to do background checks on their teachers, substitute teachers, and basically that's it. If you don't, as a parent, you need to know who your teacher is. You don't just go, maybe he may be a good teacher. You've got to do your homework. Do your homework. Don't just look at it. Don't just talk to your child and say, how's your new teacher? Oh, she's doing great. And then all of a sudden, one day later, you find out she's drunk, or he or she's drunk. Now they're doing homework. It's not like this. Don't ask your child how your teacher's doing. Do your homework. Do your homework. Go on your phone. Go on your laptop. Go on your computer. Do some research. Print it out. Talk with school officials. Do your homework. Don't be sitting up here asking your child how's your teacher doing. I mean, teachers have been fired for abusing their teachers, abusing other students, hitting other students. It's the same situation we talked about on our previous shows, where we dealt with teachers who hit their students. It's like this. I mean, it's something we dealt with throughout the 7 years. And throughout the 7 years, we told you what you need to do. I mean, this is the first I'm telling you. If you want to know whether your child's teacher has a criminal record, you need to do homework. You need to start asking the school. You need to ask it. I'll tell you something. When open house hits, my advice to you is this: do your homework. When you get ready to meet the teacher, meet the teacher next year or open house, there's still time to ask questions. Do you have a criminal record? Do you have a criminal record? Do you have arrest reports? The record needs to be open. And school may say, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to scare kids. Schools have got to open up to parents. If the teacher won't tell you, go to the leader, the superintendent. Set up a meeting and say, hey, does my child's teacher have a criminal record? If they say they won't, then you walk away. Talk to your officer. Talk to your police department. Is it try talking to school? I tried them, but they won't let me. But they won't tell me. Have an officer look it up for you. They'll call back. They'll call back and just write everything down. On the phone, you're writing it down. That way you know. If you see a drunk teacher at work, if your child sees that, he or she needs to be you need to be contacted by your child immediately. If my old teacher was drunk at the job, I would immediately call the local police department and the superintendent. If I found out about it, I would report it straight to the superintendent, and they would take care of it like right away. Because you're not supposed to be drinking on the job. I mean, if you're having troubles or something's stressing you out, you've got to talk to people. Communication is key. Booze will not do anything. All it will do is make your life miserable if you don't have the proper tools. If you don't have the proper tools, you need to find the proper tools here. And the proper tool that you need for this is just basically what you have at your disposal. If you have questions, if you feel like something's bothering you, you need to talk to your boss. Talk with the district leader, set up appointments, talk to your therapist, and they'll put you on medication. If it's during school hours, then they have to know. You can't just go willy-nilly and sneak in drugs with you like some child. And this woman right here, she did the unthinkable. Let's go to Virginia. No, that's a different one. But I would not allow teachers drunk. 7 years ago, this person was on Dr. Phil because she was caught drunk at work. Why did she do it? Did she deny it? Watching, you'll see.
This is the deal. I almost got killed right after I did your show. The guy I was dating almost killed me. He got attempted murder. And after that happened, I did drink too much at night, and my kids knew it. They were like, hey, Mom, you need to not drink so much. I went to rehab, got better, and then he came back in 2012 and broke in my house and strangled me. And I've been through a lot of stuff, but I didn't go to school at 8 o'clock in the morning. I made chocolate gravy that morning, went to school, and I got dizzy and told him that I was dizzy, but I did not drink it. No one drinks at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, slow down for just a minute. I'm very sorry to hear that somebody attacked you and tried to hurt you.
I mean, I almost died,
You just said that real fast, but let me just slow down and go back to that. I'm very sorry that happened to you. I hate that for
I
you.
don't like talking about it, It's hard.
You love teaching, right?
Yes, I love it. Yes. I love kids.
I've done some checking around, and from what I can find, you're very good at it. You're a good teacher, and you take it very seriously.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And, which I'm also not surprised to hear.
I love you, Dr. Phil.
But now I understand from what you're saying is that you were called to sub at this school, and you didn't want to do it.
I was so reluctant to go in that day. I shouldn't have gone in. I should have went with my instincts and not gone in. It ruined my career.
Here's the thing. What we want to do is clear all this up so it doesn't ruin anything. Let's talk about what happened that day. You get arrested. You said, I hadn't had anything to drink that day.
I knew I was dizzy. I felt dizzy. That's why I told them that. And they knew that I had a problem with drinking because I told her that.
Yeah.
And they knew that I had been stressed out. But I didn't go to school that morning drinking.
Let's take a look at what happened that day. So
What'd you take? I can smell alcohol, but what else?
No, that's it. I drank a little bit.
Last night.
So you drank and came up here to sub? It's not too good of a decision.
I meant the night before, though. And that's why I was so dizzy.
It's a bad decision. You come to a school intoxicated to try to sub.
I'm not intoxicated.
You are intoxicated.
I didn't try to.
You can't even stand up.
Yes, you can.
Why? No, you can't. So, did you drive up here drunk, I guess? Is this your car?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't drive up here to be bad. I drove up here just to stay for a little bit and go home.
What the deal was is that I took that medicine and it made me really dizzy. And I was out of my head. I don't remember what happened after I took that medicine. That's how sick I was. I was sick for 10 days. And see, I had been going to the DA and paying on my fine, And I couldn't even go up there and pay on that fine because
what fine?
I had a fine from a DUI 3 years ago. And I told her I have the H1N1 virus. They knew I was sick, and they all know me in town. If they didn't know me, this wouldn't be going on. If I wasn't on Dr. Phil, this wouldn't be going on. They're still talking about it. Well, get over it. I don't hate fat people either. It looks bad, and I don't even like to look at it because I was so sick.
You told the police here that you had alcohol that morning, and when we interviewed you about it and you told us about it, you told us that you had had something to drink that morning, and then that when you got to school that you had
No, wait a minute. I did not say that. I didn't tell you that I had something to drink that morning. I'm telling you the truth. I know I had an alcohol problem, and I know that. And I know I drank too much at night, but I did not drink that morning. I would never go to that school, especially intoxicated, with that principal there. There's no way I drink at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm telling you the truth.
So you drink at night, but not in the morning?
I'm trying not to drink at night at all now. But no, I don't drink in the morning. I can't drink in the morning.
We took this picture at 11 o'clock this morning here at the hotel.
Wow. This was on Dr. Phil years ago. But could she and this person right here be similar to this? Well, after seeing that clip, after seeing that full video, let me tell you, I watched that video, I was disgusted. You will be too when you see that. And if you're shaking your head thinking, I'm not going to watch that video, it may be disturbing to watch. It is. It may be disturbing. But once you watch that video, you will feel my wrath. You will feel my anger. We pay teachers to teach, and they have to be role models for our kids. I would not put my child in front of a teacher who had a criminal record. I would not put my child in front of a teacher who had an arrest record. I would not put my child in front of a teacher who had a DUI record. I would not put my child in front of a teacher who was drunk. If I did, if my brother, if my sister-in-law, and let me tell you what happened. If they told me that that teacher was drunk, I would immediately call up the district and say, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing not allowing this to happen? You shouldn't be. That teacher was drunk on the job, and my nephew is exposed to this. What are you doing? And they say, well, we're trying our best. You're not trying your best. You're allowing this to happen. If you do background checks on your teachers and you do random drug testing, alcohol testing, you're going to be having this conversation. It should be before and during, like every year or so. Every year. That's exactly what needs to happen. I'll be right back. If you learn something from now you want to know, it's not to be drunk while at prom. It's like what happened to one teacher. If you think that it's happening in a classroom, you better think again, because it can happen at a school-sanctioned event. Or an after-school function like prom, or at a sports game. Take a look at this from years ago.
If there's one thing we learned from 90210, it's not to go to prom drunk, whether you're a student or staff. A high school teacher is now facing the consequences after he admitted to being drunk while chaperoning a high school prom. 33-year-old Royce Van Roykel, a business teacher and cross-country coach in Iowa, was arrested after police got a call about an intoxicated teacher at their high school's prom. Van Roykel allegedly failed a sobriety test, and police say his BAC was a .191, more than twice the legal limit. He then resigned from his position at the school, where the principal said in a statement Van Roykel arrived drunk to the dance. He pleaded guilty to the public intoxication charge and fined $225. He's also required to pay the district for a substitute for the remainder of the year. Let's hope it's not Sue Sylvester.
Slap yourself with a chicken cutlet. Now slap Brittany.
For InsideEdition.com, I'm Alicia Epps.
That's good. He resigned, which is the first step. Now, if teachers had said, you know what, let me tell you this. If I was a teacher and they caught me drinking on school grounds, I would admit to it. I would give them the exact timeline, write everything down, give it to the officer that wouldn't tell them. And I would say, yes, I was drinking at work. I was drinking at my house. I was drinking at the car. I drank in the classroom because I was under a lot of stress. And they tell me I would take a sobriety test and I would go over the legal limit. If the end, can someone come pick you up? I would say sure. Call up my friend and they would help come pick me up, or my neighbor. Come pick me up and take me home, or take me to jail. If I did not do that, I would go to jail. And I'd admit to it in court. And I came back the next day to determine whether I became my job or not. If they say, we're going to give you one last chance, don't ever do this again, okay. If they say, Mr. Carmody, you were charged, we can't allow you to come back and teach our kids, we're going to terminate you. Or, during that process, and every time we resign, you know what? I'm going to have someone drive me home, and I'm going to resign. That's exactly what I would do. I would resign. But none of these teachers you've seen have resigned. They've gone to jail. They've gone to jail. They pleaded guilty. They have to face the consequences. The bottom line here is this: if you're going to sit there and drink, you need to resign immediately. If you're thinking about drinking on your job, you need to resign immediately. That way you won't take that test. We'll be right back. This Valor Break is just hard to watch. We've been talking about teachers being drunk. Now, back in April, this teacher was accused of saying the N-word. Really, it's not something that would happen. Just take a look.
Why? You asked me how to spell it, so go ahead and pronounce it. Pronounce it after me. You asked me how to spell it, so go ahead and pronounce it. Pronounce it after me.
Wow. I'm just bombarded. We have already racist we have drunk teachers, abusive teachers, drunk teachers. What's going on with this country to where you can freaking drink on the job? You cannot be doing that. You could get yourself in a lot of trouble here. Public intoxication, jail time. You could be paying fines. Well, thank fuck I don't drink. If I did drink, I'd be drinking while doing this show, and I would be drunk off my ass, saying what needs to be said. I would be slurring my words. I never drink. I would never drink. I damn well do my homework every day. I research every issue before I turn on that damn camera. I do my homework. So don't be telling me saying you don't know what you don't know. I know what I damn well know. I've seen it happen in all of our schools. I've walked the hallways. I've been in every classroom. I've seen it all. Don't be schooling me and saying, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about, mister. I damn well know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this show for 6 years. I went to school. I know. Did I ever go to college? Nope. If I did go to college, I'd be doing this show from my dorm room. And my roommate would be holding the camera. So, what's the bottom line? Don't be a racist. It's not right. But if I was racist and I said the N-word, I get the crap being kicked out of. That teacher needs to take the Input Association test. That's all I got to say. Well, we are now out of time. I was going to show you that clip, but we are now out of time. I'm going to show you that on Give Me a Break Saturday. That video clip. I'm going to show you. What I'm going to show you here was this body cam footage that was released 3 years ago, and I'm going to also show you another one that was posted by Law and Crime Network. Another teacher was drunk, was arrested for the same thing. So here's a sneak preview of this. Because it is just disturbing to watch. And believe me, once you watch it, you will know. Because this story is not over yet. With 2 teachers who have been drunk and 2 body cam footage that will show. Here's a sneak peek.
Everybody come on in here and have a seat a second. On the visit. Alright. So, just observing you in the classroom, it looks like something's off a little bit. And so I've asked Officer Dean to come in here and visit with it. Have you taken anything that's, do you have a prescription for anything that maybe you have taken today that just seems like you're not the same person that I talked to this morning?
I did take some medication last night to help me with sleep because I have some anxiety stuff, but that's I can't think of the name of it right now, but I could look it up when I get home.
Okay. So you haven't taken anything while you were at school?
No.
Okay. Now, one thing I would tell you is, for your employment, I want you to be truthful.
Okay.
And so, would you be willing to take a breathalyzer test?
You really don't want to miss part 2 of this. We're also going to show you what happened when this teacher right here took that breathalyzer test and Pub did the same thing. What will be the common sense here? We'll tell you that on Saturday. Well, that's all for this edition. That's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Friday going to Saturday. We will see you again for Give Me a Break Saturday. For all of us here at YouTube and Give Me a Break, have a good night.